We've seen this year, just a few months ago, President Biden signing new gun legislation. His administration putting out a statement today reading in part, quote, "The president and first lady are mourning with the University of Virginia community after yet another deadly shooting in America has taken the lives of 3 young people. Our deepest condolences are with the countless families, friends, and neighbors grieving for those killed as well as those injured in the senseless shooting."
It's a shame, and it's very true. These shootings take a toll on entire communities, Marina. When this happens, you know, now that entire UVA student body, all of the businesses and surrounding communities, they have all been, you know, adversely affected by this right now. And it's happened too much in our country. I'm sick of it.
Definitely, especially that community in Charlottesville. So let's bring in an expert now to talk about that. Dr. Yalda Safai is a psychiatrist. Charlottesville, unfortunately, has been greatly impacted, not just by this shooting, but in the years before then. We saw a white supremacy rally turn deadly. We have seen numerous incidents amongst student body there at UVA. Just from our region here, the Yardley Love domestic murder that happened on campus. Hannah Graham, who was abducted there, a student of UVA, and now this. How does a community like a student body that large come back together and try and clear the cloud that seems to be over Charlottesville?
Of course. I mean, this is really unfortunate. I want to give advice to families. First of all, our children here are the most vulnerable for psychological distress, whether they have been impacted directly by this in their community or whether they're hearing about it through the media. Kids are very vulnerable to things like this. So my advice is, first of all, to the families to sit down with your kids and really understand their understanding of the event. Try to clear up any misperception they have. Try to understand their fears. It's unfortunate because a recent poll has showed that 57% of kids and adolescents have reported that gun violence and the fear of mass shootings is one of their top concerns when it comes to going to school. I mean, this is very unfortunate. When a state of hypervigilance and anxiety is detrimental to learning at any age. Your mental energy is going to your emotions instead of executive functions. So families, if you notice your kids are in a state of hypervigilance and anxiety, sit them down and talk to them and seek out professional help if you need to. Our kids here, I mean, the whole community is impacted, but I really want to put an emphasis that kids, they feel emotions like we do, but they don't have the emotional vocabulary to properly express their feelings. So they present it in other ways, like acting out, not sleeping, having nightmares. So my advice is to the families, be sure to sit down with your kids at this difficult time and talk to them and express their concern, listen to their concerns.
After we talk to the parents and everybody else, what does the community have to do? What do you, from your standpoint, what do we need to see put in place, not by just, you know, community leaders, the schools, the government? What do you think we need to put in place as a nation?
I know this is such a complex issue, unfortunately. Change has to be made on an individual level and an institutional level, which is in this case schools, and a community level and a societal level. We talked about individual level a little bit, but schools right now, what they're doing is they're spending billions of dollars in increasing security, such as bringing police forces, tightening security, which really there has been no research showing that increasing security in schools will help prevent mass violence and mass shootings. In fact, it will make the students a little bit more anxious when they feel a police presence in their schools. So we have to look at research that shows what works and what doesn't work in the school system. In the community system, unfortunately, we're lacking resources for the mentally ill. This is a problem we've had for years and nothing seems to be improving. So if we're going to do one thing, we're going to have to make community resources for people who are struggling with mental illness to have a place to go. Right now, they don't, unfortunately. They don't in schools and they don't in the community.
And unfortunately,
so first thing,
this conversation is one that we will continue, sadly,
to have
too many times and to have, and definitely something larger. Dr. Yalda Safai, we appreciate your insight tonight and news of today's shooting. Scary for, like she said, a lot.